Hey everyone, it's Karen with Naturally with Karen. And I wanted to look at the bright sun coming in the window after 2 days of snow. We're in Northeast Minnesota and we had 2 days of gray and cold and wind and snow. And now the sun is coming out and I'm just so thankful for it. I decided to do, by request, a video about detoxification, what it is, why we want to do it. And because it's been such a big part of my medicine for 35 years as an adult, I wanted to break it down because more and more people, as I've been on this road for a very long time, have said to me, well, what does it mean? Or you see these different articles going around on Facebook, other social media, or people saying, don't believe in that detoxification stuff. It's just pseudoscience. Or my mother, 20 years ago had cancer and she figured out that if she bought, the salve from this person and did these things, they just really didn't work. And she would have died if she wouldn't have done chemotherapy. Well, most people that are doing what they may call themselves alternative medical professionals. They may call themselves naturopathic doctors. There's some really awesome people out there. And in the same vein, there are some people out there that really shouldn't be helping other people. And the reason is because they're really not very knowledgeable, or they've been reading a lot on Facebook and they've changed their own diet, but they really don't know anything when it comes to many of the symptoms that people have. Now, when you do detoxification for a long time, people can experience a lot of different reactions. So I'd like to get started and share with you about detoxification, what it means to me, how I've used it, what I've seen accomplished with it, what it really looks like. What is it, right? What do we use it for? Because there's a lot of people out there like me. When I first got started on this path, not everyone's almost 58 years old. There's a lot of people who are in their teens or in their 20s, or they learned other skills and now they're learning this one, like me. I'm not very mechanical. In fact, I'm almost handicapped on mechanical. So I'm going to be making myself learn a little bit more about fixing my car and a little bit more about, putting up blinds and using power tools and stuff, because I feel kind of intimidated. So I need to go learn from someone. Detoxification is a D word. Think of like decompress, deconstruct, detoxification. The first thing you want to do is realize that it's going to be entailing taking a look at your habits. Okay. So it's positive. It's not negative. It doesn't always mean that you're going to get really sick and feel horrible and you can't go to work, because that's not true. Okay. To deconstruct, like it's essentially, like I wrote down a note here, to deconstruct the belief system that, the food system, and that anything out there has been put out there that is safe for you to eat, because not all the foods that are put out there are safe for you to eat. Okay. I love being a plant-based chef for the 30 some odd years. How I got started was with an 8 to 12 week course called Raw Foods for Reversing Cancer. And I was 23 years old. And that was a form of detoxification. My instructor had gone, Pamela Masters. And if you know where she is, find her, because I want to hug her and say, thank you. Because of you, I'm on the path that I'm on today, back in the 1980s. Okay. So we want to take a look at many different things. Detoxification really is just cleansing. You take your dog to the vet or your cats to the vet. Most of us do. I am an herbalist, so I prepare diatomaceous earth and other things here for, parasite removal for me and for them, instead of those chemicals. But most people know that you've got to manage yourself as an organism, or the dog or the cat. Otherwise, things get out of balance. And they get out of balance because we're eating products that are called food, because we're being injected with certain chemicals that are extremely negative to the body. And heavy metals are part of our lives. So detoxification is cleansing, okay? And what we're going to cleanse, what do we cleanse when we detoxify? We want to cause the body to feel like it's okay now. We're not shoving food in 24/7. We're getting a little more rest, and it's okay to cleanse inflammation and mucus, okay? Not just that, but why do we want to take inflammation and mucus out? Well, because most of us know that it's really the root cause of why we have a lack of ease or dis-ease, okay? So it's the root cause under absolutely everything. Underneath HIV and AIDS, underneath lupus, underneath diabetes, underneath thyroid disease, underneath everything. And yet, you're going to find that the majority of medical professionals in the medical allopathic industry, not all of them, because a lot of them are really saying, wait a minute, let's do something else besides just drugging it or cutting it out, okay, or killing it out with chemo and radiation. There are now more and more people who have cysts in their body. And because I've done body work for over 16 years, thousands of hours a year, got itchy on my leg, people have cysts around their clavicle. I can feel swelling when I palpate their thyroid gland in their neck, okay? Cysts in the lymph nodes under their arms, okay? Their bellies are bigger, which indicates hormone storage. People are getting cysts in their breasts, cysts around their ovaries. Men are getting cystic in all sorts of places and potentially even their prostate. But there's one place that really, really concerns me when people are getting cysts, and that's around their pituitary gland. I'm probably one of the rare or very uncommon individuals who sees a lot more pituitary adenoma, because not everyone is running in and getting a brain scan, but you can start to see the effects. You can see the thyroid slow way down before it starts to race. You can see the lopsidedness on the eyes. You can see some of the behaviors. You can see a wide range of things. But it's extremely common that we're getting more and more and more cysts in our body, and that young people are getting more of the buffalo hump on the back of their neck, where you can see, kind of a hump. So what is detoxification? Cleansing, eliminating. Where do you do that? You do it by urinating, sweating, having bowel movements, so pooping, right? That's why a lot of the times when I do sessions, I might say, what does a poop look like recently? We do talk pee and poop kind of a thing. If your urine is really bubbly, smelly, maybe it's got mucus in it, as opposed to being nearly clear and no smell to it, right? If you're having bladder leakage, absent any sort of a mechanical issue, like a pelvic floor issue due to a surgery or something like that, chances are your kidney's not really handling the sugar, okay, that you're putting in. You're probably putting in, like I was at a time where I wasn't really thinking too good. I was under a lot of stress, and I was grabbing some of the barista drinks. I won't name a brand so that I'm not offensive, but the barista drinks, as you go through some of these coffee places, and they use all the pumpies in there, and the pumpies are really high sugar and chemical. So it triggers your bladder to leak. Just really trust me on that one, okay? Looking down at my notes here, how would we get started to detoxify? Clients have come to me, friends, and I am on my 5th detoxification right now, my 5th. I had a family member that went through an addiction crisis. And for about a year and a half, I wasn't sleeping at night. I wasn't eating right. I was using. And for me, using means I was stopping and getting things made out of wheat. I like to go to 3rd Street Bakery, and they do have wheat-free and dairy-free items, and I wasn't getting those. I was getting other things that I knew better. And wheat's a whole different subject. I've got a course on my website about it called Wheat, the Grain That's Causing You Pain, for only $19, and it explains everything in a video format, so you can watch it, pause it, come back to it. It'll explain it all. It tears you up, okay? Makes the voice raspy, makes you gain a lot of weight, didn't feel good. So I was using wheat during this time. I was helping a family member. So I'm on detoxification number 5. I'm still 30 pounds over, so I'm detoxifying. I cut my hair. I am regenerating my hair. That's part of the detoxification. Okay, so everyone is different. And the first thing we want to do with detoxification is take a look at your habits. Okay, if you're smoking cigarettes, if you're, having a glass of wine every night, some of you are going to say, what is the big deal? It's actually been proven it's not a big deal to drink wine. Then you should probably really check out what it really does to your liver. And then if that's something you're not willing to give up, then that's something that you keep, because that's your life. And this is mine. And I choose not to use alcohol at all. I choose to use kombucha. Kombucha really relaxes me, especially the way that it used to be made. So if I go back home to Santa Cruz and Jajet or one of my friends has real kombucha that's not like according to what the laws are now, they can't have any sort of fermentation enough to make it alcoholic, then I just do what I do and I use kombucha. So you might want to cut out cigarette smoking. You might want to cut out alcohol use. You might want to cut back on cannabis if you're smoking too much, because smoking is hard on your throat and your thyroid. You might want to cut back because you're eating too much meat. You might want to cut back because you're still using dairy. You might want to come back, but nothing is going to motivate you more than when a person gets sick. And that's what happened to me in May of 2008, is that I was taken to the hospital after something happened, and I got diagnosed with ovarian carcinoma through a blood test, a CA-125, which measures inflammation, and a CT scan, which I would not have agreed to, but I was passed out, and also through opening me and looking at my ovaries, a diagnosis of advanced ovarian cancer. Carcinoma is cancer, was made, and I made the choice at that time to also detoxify myself and heal myself. I'm 57 now. It's 10 years later. It's not 2018. It's 2019. So it's almost 11 years later. And I've healed myself, and I've proven through tissue inspection and blood testing and examination, it's gone. And no one calls to congratulate you and say, oh my gosh, what on earth did you do, right? How did you do that? But I'm here to tell you that after 35 years now in 2019 of doing detoxification and learning every year, and hundreds of books, hundreds of clients, many of which were unpaid in Santa Cruz and in Minnesota, I've learned a lot. So you learn how the body ejects and how people, and still you always want to err on the side of caution. So we meet together through the screen, or we meet together in person, and I help people detox. Okay. Now, like I said, this is my 5th time, and 3 times out of the 5, I did it for health reasons. At one point, I did it because I had asthma, allergies, and sinusitis, and I was just drained. I was tired. I was a college student, and I just wasn't able to comprehend. I thought I was just the dumbest doorknob on the planet, and I had to take a bunch of the prereq classes before college at West Valley in Saratoga. And I realized that years later, with detoxification and supplementation and a way of life, my IQ dramatically rose. And better than that, because that doesn't really matter to me, that was one indice of sort of checking, how I improve myself. But more than that are some other things I'll get into, like my reflexes were quicker. Like I had more stamina, I had more energy, I could get up in the morning. I lost depression and I lost anxiety. And in the world the way it is today, that's pretty important. Okay. It's also extremely youthing and anti-aging. So as I detox here this summer, you'll be able to see my progress too and be able to hold me accountable, right? Okay. 2 of the times that I detoxed were because I really got off balance. And one of those was because my whole mouth was full of silver mercury amalgam fillings. And with drilling them all out and everything, it was just so hard and so scary and so toxic that I wanted to go in and detoxify and take care of myself that way. So this is time number 5 for me with real serious intention after a lot of stress. Okay. Let's see what else I want to write here. Right. So your reflexes, your thinking, depression is less, anxiety is less. The other thing is I wanted to know because with detoxification, maybe you start off with, I'm going to make a plan to stop cigarette smoking. That's detoxification too. Maybe your plan is 3 times a week, I'm going to get out and walk the dog for 40 minutes. That's detoxifying. Maybe your plan is, I'm going to start going and getting massage for an hour every 2 weeks. Well, while you're laying on the table very passively, someone is really pushing the blood flow and the circulation, not only your blood, but your lymph, helping to break up those cysts for you. So that's detoxifying. The walking, the massage, going to sleep a little bit earlier. For me, detoxifying right now, my 5th time, most of the winter with it being snowy and cold here in Northeast Minnesota, I said, that's it. I'm going to go lay down sometimes even at 8:30, but then at 9, because I know when the summer comes, and the summer is so short up here relatively, that I'm going to want to stay up a little bit later and on the nice warm nights be outside and be out in nature. So getting to sleep a little bit earlier, aligning with circadian rhythms with the earth. So natural rhythms, going to sleep in the dark, using candles so that your environment, instead of having to get the sunglasses that, turn different colors and you're putting on, or not sunglasses, but they're like blue blockers. You put the glasses on and you walk around your house and they change things for you. Really, what you can do that's almost free is to get the most non-toxic candles possible made out of, soy or whatever you can get without the colorants and all the fragrances in them. Shut the lights off and really start to tune in to the dusking and the darkening in your environment, okay? Goals, right? Should be the sleep and everything else, really taking care of yourself. Now, as we go deeper and deeper, it might be that we start converting over to 50% plant-based diet. A lot of people say to themselves, well, what is that going to do for me, right? I mean, what it's going to do is it's going to provide more vitamins, minerals, fiber, and food that has more water in it. It's going to start really making your skin much more radiant. You're going to have more energy. You're going to sleep better because your gut's not trying to digest all this super heavy stuff. You're going to lose weight naturally. In fact, most of my clients lose 30 to 40 pounds a month when we start working together in some really positive, optimistic, optimizing coaching, consulting sessions, because all of a sudden they realize now they can eat, a good amount of food and enjoy it. You can have watermelons and mangoes and papayas and coconut, chocolate smoothies. You can make nice cream, which is just like ice cream, and put chocolate syrup on the top. And all of these things are going to be like so beneficial for you. Isn't that exciting? Now, the long range of detoxification is that, sure, maybe you look at the habits like cigarette smoking, like alcohol, like lots of cannabis, like maybe you're on a lot of prescriptions and you want to tone that down a little bit, Maybe you're on an antidepressant. You don't want to take that forever. Maybe you've just learned that taking Synthroid and synthetic thyroid hormones might not be in the forever plan for you if you still have your thyroid. Now that you've learned that your thyroid was just slow and that you were, eating a diet that was the standard American diet, and you've realized maybe I don't have to do that. Okay. So instead of ending your medication, I don't want you to do that. What I want you to do is start upgrading your daily habits. Start getting more plant food in your diet, or work with me. Let's work together one-on-one and make a plan just for you, just like this, just through the screen. And you can take, your notebook, write down some notes with your pen. You can also say, hey, I want to record you. Put your phone on record. Let's get going. And I will answer your questions, ask you how you're doing. How's it going for you now? Ask you some questions. Are you sleeping okay? Are you feeling okay? What has your doctor had to say that was meaningful for you that you want to share with us or not? Okay. In the beginning, what kind of diagnoses do you have? We want to find out, where do we need to clarify? Okay. So as we detoxify and the belly goes down, the weight comes off, the sleeping is good, the insomnia goes away, your doctor says, hey, wait, I don't think you need to take these medications anymore. We can transition you off of them, ideally, in the ideal world. And it happens quite often. Mental health issues, mental and emotional and spiritual issues really calm down, and you start to realize how they really became to be in the first place. So detoxification is powerful, and it's something I've used with Parkinson's disease, lupus, advanced kidney disease, my own ovarian carcinoma, asthma, infertility, thyroid. I've written a book about thyroid. Detoxification is not something that is pseudoscience. It is not something, because if you consider that most people are going in and out of convenience stores, grabbing food, grabbing pizza, grabbing coffee drinks with all those pumps in there, right? Eating dairy, eating wheat. They didn't really realize, just like I didn't, growing up in a home where the standard American diet is the norm. It's the norm in America. Perhaps it's even the norm in the world and now it's younger and younger until we get sick. But we're really sick, ill, and toxic. This is why I love doing the hair tissue testing, because I can see what sort of health trends are on your path. It's going to say, that you're making excess cholesterol, or that you're into osteoporosis, or most of the time long before the doctor is going to see it on a blood test. Okay. Lab's been around 35 years. It's not a fly by night. It's not something that is, distrustful. So I hope that answered your questions on detoxification. It might include starting to change your diet. It might be taking real baby steps. And right now we're just going to try to get off wheat and gluten, show you what you need to do to replace that. It might be that you're really sick and you want to do everything in your power to turn this thing around right now, in which case, let's get to work with the hair test. Make sure you click order on that. I'll put the link below the video. The next thing we need to do is set up some sessions as soon as possible. And I will cover with you after I gather and ask you key insights about yourself to keep you safe. I also have an extremely detailed wellness form that you can fill out so I can read it in advance. So I'm not charging you for your time to do that. Detoxification, as I'm doing it right now, because I got 40 pounds over my normal weight, and you can do that really easily. It's called undeserved weight, through your stress hormones increasing with not sleeping, being around a chaotic environment, being under a lot of stress and worry and grief. And with addiction, if you're around someone who's addicted, it's very, very troubling. It's very, very disturbing to your peace because, you're hoping that they're going to turn things around and make a great decision. And you also understand how overwhelming it is on their brain. Detoxification will heal your body, your gut, your brain, many of the mental and emotional issues. It is beneficial for almost everyone, especially those who've been eating a lot of standardized industrial type food. Okay. So if you've got a child that's ODD and you can, get to work doing some of this, I would start with a hair test. If you've got oppositional defiant disorder, I would definitely do that. So detoxification is your friend. It's nothing to fear. You set it up the way it's going to work best, or you and I set it up, whichever the case may be, whether you're just watching this, you're going to do it yourself, or we're going to work together. We're going to set it up in a way that it's going to work for you. So where someone else might want to just radically change everything right now and get on board and turn it around and have a goal of 6 weeks from now to kind of, have something really behind them. And someone else might say, I know myself, I want to be really successful in the long term, and I want to go nice and slow and easy, and I want your support through it. That's what I'm here for. Whether it's cancer, autoimmune, or whatever it is, can't promise you a cure. I wish I could. The doctor can't either. But what I can do is tell you that I've got a lot of experience over 35 years, and that I bring a lot more than detoxification. So I hope that you will subscribe down below, because once I can get 1,000 subscribers, I can start going out and live streaming instead of sitting in my house and using my computer. And that's something I look forward to. So I hope this has been, find the little end button here. I hope this has been informing and giving you some insights, and look forward to seeing me as I go through my detoxification. Write any questions down that you have. Detoxification. Detoxification is something that we've always done. We've always, whether for you it's, colon hydrotherapy or enemas, whatever it is, people have different ways that they detoxify. So when I work with people, I find what I think would be best for them, and then I run it by them, and they are the final say because I work for you. Okay. All right. Well, you guys have a good night, and you can look forward to more at Naturally with Karen.